It's February 27th, 2024, and I'm over here at Harborview Elementary. I'm subbing a 5th grade class today. It's the same 5th grade class that I subbed for last year. First time that I'm here since the publication of my new book, Unstoppable, and I briefly talked about coming here on November 27th when I did those assemblies. Well, I mean, it was kind of written beforehand, but I mentioned in here that it was already established that I was going to do assemblies later in November 2023, and that I did. So I'm very glad to be here. So the day's going magnificently so far. When I first arrived, I relieved the substitute teacher. I will explain momentarily, but she was happy that I was here and thankful that it was me who accepted the job. And the students were doing like art masters, so there's another instructor here teaching them how to draw leaves and sticks and how to do shading and all that. So that was probably an hour, and then recess and then math, and then after math was the jogathon. So today's the jogathon. When I first arrived here, there's so much volunteers arriving, a lot of parents arriving. After I checked in and walked out of the office, I looked over and I saw engine 65 from the Newport Beach Fire Department parked over there on the blacktop, and there were a lot of vendors and music. So the jogathon just came and went, and now it's lunchtime. After lunch is like math and going over the math, and then today's concluding with innovation lab. So that's like the robotics and all that. When I first arrived, all the students were very happy and cheering because I subbed for them last year, and I also did the assemblies here on November 27th. Speaking of which, this morning, I was just at California Elementary doing an assembly for the 5th to 6th graders. It was going to include 4th grade, but they had a field trip. And so by the time this video is uploaded, I would have already uploaded the video about the assembly that I did today and yesterday. Yesterday I did 2 assemblies at East Bluff Elementary from TK to 6th grade, and that was magnificent as well. And I'll leave a link in the card. After the assembly at California this morning, I looked at Frontline and saw that this job was available, so I accepted it, and I'm glad I did. After the art project and right before recess, I showed them the drawings that I've done by hand of the human heart. I've done these in human anatomy class 11 years ago this exact time, February 26th to the 27th, 2013. And just to say, there's a student in this 5th grade class who was born that day. I ran into the principal earlier and he was so excited to see me again. I'm sure that the rest of the day would go well, and tonight I have Royal Rangers, and so I'm doing week 3 of the astronomy merit that I'm teaching, so it should be good. A conclusion to a long day teaching morning through night. As always, I'm glad I'm here, and I can't wait for next time. It is February 29th, 2024. Yes, Leap Day 2024. I'm over here at College Park Elementary. I'm subbing for a 6th grade class today. And I was thinking, I spent my 2nd Leap Day here back in 2000. It's like once every 400 years when the century year has a Leap Day in it. And so February 29th, 2000 was the day, a weekday, so I most likely spent my 2nd Leap Day here. First time over at this side of campus. And inside this great classroom here, I'm just about to get set up, and then I have parking lot duty this morning. And this class is actually dual immersion. It's Mandarin. And when I subbed here the first time back in 2022, the 3rd grade class was dual immersion. They were learning Mandarin as well. So I believe each grade level has one class that teaches Mandarin. So the teacher emailed me the sub notes in advance a couple of days ago, and can't wait for today. So this sleep day is going okay. I mean, the class as a whole is very, 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 very noisy, but I believe that a lot of them are kind and hard. I mean, during the math, like a few of them were asking me like one after the other questions. They're like dividing fractions, so like you could divide fractions by cross multiplication, or keep change reciprocate, or keep change flip. So I'm a math tutor, and so I told them I'm willing to help them on their Khan Academy assignments. They took me up on the offer and asked questions. So yeah, today's more, managing than teaching. I did somehow get through the ELA slides and the reading passage from Ray Bradbury. Then they had to do like a quiz. So we got through that, I'd say. Again, this is dual immersion, so right before lunch they're doing Mandarin. And yes, I can't help in Mandarin. I can't read it or write it or anything like that. Fortunately, there's a couple of student teachers that just popped in and helped out because they're fluent in Mandarin. What I told a couple of them is I'm continuing to practice Spanish. I took it at Newport Harbor High School some 11 and 12 years ago. It took 2 years, very, very easy, and so now I have Rosetta Stone. I've been practicing a lot on that, refreshing my memory, and again, it's very easy. Estoy aprendiendo y practicando español. Yo quiero hablar español y rusa. So in case you didn't know what I said, I want to speak both Spanish and Russian. And that's because I'm also self-teaching myself Russian, so I'm learning the Cyrillic script the past week and just memorizing all 33 different letters in the Russian alphabet. Actually, I should say the Cyrillic script alphabet because other languages uses the Cyrillic script. And just a couple of words that I know so far is like pravit, which is hi, spasiba, which is thank you, tiema, which is theme, I know, which is random. So again, I believe I could push through this day. I mean, again, I feel that they're kind in heart. I mean, there's a couple that are very, very respectful. Again, I've had days similar to this, days worse than this, including that day at Whittier a couple of weeks ago. That will probably stay in my mind for a while. But other than that, I'm very glad that I'm here. A few students were recognizing me from the assembly that I did on November 27th. Well, I can't wait for next time. And over here at Ensign Intermediate School, I was just tutoring for the past hour, or helping as a volunteer tutor. The students are learning scientific notation. And I remember being here in 7th grade, February 29th, 2008. There's like a scavenger hunt with paper animals that we're trying to find for like a prize. It is the beginning of March 2024. I'm over here at Paularino Elementary and doing a last-minute sub job for the 4th grade. And back inside this classroom, and it's good to be back to Paularino Elementary. Again, this is the school that I went to for 3 years, from kindergarten to 2nd grade, some 20 plus years ago. And in fact, I mentioned that in my first book and in my second book, Unstoppable. In fact, this one is going to Florida because a host of a podcast is going to read it and then interview me later this month, toward the end of this month. But in this book, Unstoppable, about my journey through student teaching and substitute teaching, I talk about a couple of times, or at least one time when I subbed here, December 14th, 2022 for sure. Actually 2 times, because I subbed here on December 13th, 2022. So 2 days in a row, and so I mentioned that in here. I talked about the story and talked about the students as a whole in a couple of those classes. And while I was walking them to music when I first arrived, a lot of older students, like 5th and 6th graders, were just like screaming my name and coming up to me to confirm that I was the person who subbed for them last year, and they appreciated the tricks, the magic tricks, and not real magic. I recently got a lot more tricks, I just need to practice them. But always great to be back in Paularino. This is the first time this academic year. I saw the principal from a distance. She's actually referred to in here along with hundreds of other people in this district. Hopefully I'll be able to do one of my volunteer assemblies here this year and all the other schools in NMUSD before June. I was told this was going to be an easy day, so again, this was like a last-minute emergency, and so the 4th grade class was in another classroom until I got here, and then they had to go to music, and then after that there's like this detective fun packet activity, lunch, and then silent reading, then band. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing today, but at least I'm here. I'm just thankful that I get to serve in some way today, because this is Friday, the end of the week. I do have an extensive training for Royal Rangers tomorrow, and probably serving on Sunday. And during lunchtime, I went over by my kindergarten class, room 21, and just relived like dozens of memories. I mean, they just came to me one at a time. And then went over to this side of the campus, and I went inside the library. They're doing like a little book club thing, and the librarian and the students were highly interested in the fact that I was there over 20 years ago as a student. And I'm like, this is like the first time I'm in the library after all these years. And they were asking me questions about like what it was like and who the teachers were. And then later I was looking through some books, and sometimes teachers put their name in the books, and I found one that had a teacher's name that I recognized, so it might be the same one. And then there's a couple of books with a name that I recognize as a person who was a teacher here, so it's probably the same one. I'm like, this is so nostalgic. And the students learned a few tricks, and they just could not get over them. And now they're all hoping that I'd be here on Monday. So this is a remarkable conclusion to a phenomenal, extraordinary week, starting out with a couple of assemblies and concluding with substitute teaching, with the leap day in there. And so whatever you want to do in life, never give up on them. Disability or not, anybody could do whatever they set their heart and mind to do, including being a teacher if they want to. And I really appreciate everyone who watches, and have an excellent day. See you in the next video.